Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now, pre-recorded, yet again for your live listening pleasure, for another episode of This Evening Tonight, where, as I've said, I'm your host, River Sullivan, and with me here, yet again. You heard that sucking sound, so you know that's my silver fox of sultry suckings of vapes and sexiest sippings of coffees.
All right now.
Scott.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're doing it. We are doing it all right, because today is going to be a little bit different, guys. We're solid, positive humanists. Let the record show that myself and Scott are that. But we're here to address something a little bit different today, and that's just some of the genuine human stupidity that's been going out
I feel a rant coming on.
all over in the world. But you know what? Before we get started into that, let's talk about this week's coffee. And this is actually the first for us as well, because we're having a do-over. Last week we had Oak & Bond's bourbon barrel-aged coffee, but my gas system hadn't been hooked up again, and we had to run it through an auto drip and had to use tap water. And it was still a solid, like, second and third place, which, damn, all right. So this week we used up the very last of it here to actually run it the proper way that we've always been doing, and that's through the French press with the filtered water. And let's give this a shot. I have yet to try this.
Why are you giggling?
It gave me the chills. I got the same.
Let me hit it again.
Ooh, hang on. Ooh.
Much better.
Oh my God.
Much more gooder.
Oh, it's taking me back.
Number 2, we say?
No,
I'm feeling number 2. I don't remember what the old number 2 was.
the old number 2 was the old number 7, Jack Daniels.
I'm going to put this above Jack Daniels.
I am as well. And I'm half tempted to replace it as number 1.
Really?
I got the chills. First time I drank Kentucky Nose, and I got that same chilled effect when I drank this. And it's so smooth.
It is.
And the bourbon you can tell it's a different type of bourbon. It's not like, with Kentucky Nose, they use Buffalo Trace bourbon barrels.
Right.
And Buffalo Trace is a little bit more charry and smoky from what I'm told. This, I don't know what this is, but it is so much smoother than Kentucky Noses, and I can see the oils rising off the top of it from the reflection and the light. Oh.
I'll give it that. It is way smoother than Kentucky Nose, but there's something about Kentucky Nose's flavor.
I think it's nostalgic, too. It might be that...
We might have to go back and try it. Well, we can't.
We can't. That's the thing. This has got, in my brain, it's got Kentucky Nose beaten in smoothness, which I like a good smooth, silky flavored coffee, which I always mix them with the same amount of 3 little packs of stevia. So maybe it's complementing it more than Kentucky Nose is. I don't know, but... And the fact that I can buy this anytime that I want as an established brand.
That's fair.
I'm going to go ahead and say that this is my new number 1. And I hate to say it. I really do, because I have so much respect for Tony Davis and his craft. God rest his soul.
Can we just retire it to the Hall of Fame, like the all-time Hall of Fame?
Yes, absolutely. We don't have one, but we're going to build a Hall of Fame.
That'll be the separate list.
Because I have right here. Hang on.
And we'll make this the king.
I still have to this day the postcards they sent with their coffee from Kentucky Nose. I'm actually going to frame that up and put it up. So
all right.
It'll be hung up here in the office so we can see it, or maybe in the building if we ever do move. But, oh, man. So, yeah, Oak & Bond, just like we said last week, smooth, delicious, go-to coffee for a weekend with company, made even better through a French press with finer water.
Puts me in the mind of a nice evening sipping coffee. A front porch sipping coffee.
A front porch. A nice veranda blend. Not Starbucks, though. They already have veranda blend, which I like as well. Starbucks, but I like that coffee.
Yeah, I've been known to partake.
They don't like the military.
Well,
but damn it.
A lot of folks don't these days.
You know, I feel like Vince Vaughn out of Anchorman when talking about Starbucks. It's like, God damn it, I hate you, Starbucks. I hate you with every fiber of my being. But damn it, do I respect your coffee?
But it's not like It's a tad overrated. It is good quality coffee, but it's a tad overrated.
It is overrated and overpriced.
It will never be a green beans.
No, you're right. Green beans out of Pittsburgh, fantastic.
Green beans out of the box?
Out of the box? I have never had it out of the box.
It tastes about the same.
Yeah. I just had it at the Pittsburgh airport. It's the closest one that you told me about it. So, there's some people in this world that don't seem to be listening to our advice.
No way.
I mean, we don't have that big of a following, I understand, but we always talk about being the yin to the yang in our conversations. If somebody picks a subject, the other one at least tries somewhat to play devil's advocate. We both acknowledge that both sides suck. And people have been blinded by this blind hatred for another side. I don't know why. Maybe it gives them it's a sense of self-importance or what. But I was perusing the old interwebs here the other day, and this is sourced through various sources of different news stories I came across that I took some notes on. Let's start off with one here. Bill Burr, the comedian, right?
I don't know who that is.
Have you seen The Mandalorian?
Yes.
He was the guy with the third arm, the robot arm.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. Him, Bill Burr. He's a comedian, writer, producer for another show on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen
F is for Family.
I've seen his stand-up before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you know that he's married to a black woman or African-American woman? Did you know that?
No.
Well, he is. They've been married a while. But the short bus of the internet, again, known as Twitter, someone came out and said that that's racist that he's married to a black woman. Okay, I'm getting there. So the verbiage used was she was his sex servant, right? This girl went on this long Twitter tirade about, oh, white man having a black woman as a sex trophy, a sex servant. That's just racist. That's him claiming property and ownership of her. I was like,
I'm confused here. Like, so if a white man marries a black woman, it's wrong? Is there a correct way to do it? Like,
I don't know.
Is he doing it wrong? Like, what's
funny to me is that's being called racist when what this person is trying to say is if you're white, you marry white. If you're black, you marry black. That in and of itself
I thought that was the racist.
Is the definition of racism.
Exactly.
Bill Burr's wife, though, responded in such a way that I loved, because I have a Twitter account, which I don't really ever use, but it allows me to track down some different things.
I hope you're going to say what I'm thinking you're going to say.
Oh, she just responds and goes, "Bitch, shut the up."
I was going to think like along the lines like hoping like she said something like, "Well, he's my servant."
Yeah, no, she
No,
just
okay.
she went gangster on it. Just bitch, shut the up. I was like, all right, hey, good.
Well, bless her heart.
Why are we at this point?
I think there has always been really ignorant people in the world. It's just we live in an age where technology is giving them a platform. With that being said, I don't think we should censor them. I think we should just have a level of discernment and calmness when dealing with it. But also, I think it speaks to that human part of us where we all want to belong. Like we all want to cause, we all want to matter.
We all want to belong, but people are talking about like this is what you're assigned to. You stay in your lane of color. Like come on.
When did racism change?
I don't understand it. That's one thing I'm learning. To me is they say certain things know no bounds, and I will say racism knows no bounds.
Yeah.
Because I don't care. I do not care about the color of your skin. I don't care what you do with your life, as long as you're happy. That's all I truly hope anybody ever has in their life, is that life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Make yourself happy. But everybody nowadays wants to be on a crusade and save the world and change it. And that was really over level, and I might have blown a mic there. No, we're good.
I'm digging it. Yeah, everybody just wants to matter. And I think there's also that human part of us that always wants to blame our problems on everybody else and project it on the society in general.
Yeah.
Not that we're not without flaws, but let's be level-headed here, people.
And we're only getting started. All right. This is the angry episode, because as nice as we are and as calm, cool, and collected as we can be, and as funny as we try to be, there are some things here that truly I looked at it and I needed somebody else's opinion. So that's why I brought some of these stories in here. So, the second story, Capitol Police of D.C., the Capitol Police of D.C. discovered an anti-Semitic text at a checkpoint for the D.C. PD or Secret Service PD, whatever. It was a book known as The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. It's a fictional book that was about the Jews taking over the world, is the premise of that book. Now, it has been regarded in terms of a lot of extremists that own it. There have been extremists on record that have owned it, but it's also a fictional book. Like,
right.
I get it. If it's like, I haven't read it. I don't want to be on some goddamn watch list right now. If that's the way this thing is. But fiction.
So it was a book, not a text. Like when you say a text, you mean a book.
It's a book. It says it is a book.
Because my mind went in a complete different direction. I was thinking they were checking people's phones and stuff.
So the book was found at a checkpoint. It belonged to a Capitol Police officer. And that officer is on suspension pending the investigation because he owned a book.
That's dangerous territory. Folks.
Right there, yeah. Am I debating the validity of all of this? Am I debating how bad this book is? I haven't read it. Straight up, honest truth, have not read it. But if, from everything that I've researched on, it says and points to a lot of extremists that are anti-Semitic do own that book, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for that. But he owned the book.
That doesn't mean anything.
Now, was that officer making anti-Semitic remarks? Or was he on social media doing some crazy shit? Like there was the Army National Guardsman that actually got pulled because he made a bunch of anti-Semitic remarks on his social media and had a Hitler mustache in the Guard. You know, that was one of the guys that went to D.C. and they went, we need to pull him. And they did. That was, hey, smart, good. But now we're pulling somebody for owning a book. What happens if you own those old Dr. Seuss books that are now banned?
That's still blowing my mind because when I grew up, like
they're older titles. It's none of the big ones like the Lorax and the Cat in the Hat or anything.
Yeah, I
like
understand that, but still, just the fact that like there were some, from what I understand, school districts that banned Dr. Seuss outright.
Yeah,
not just those particular stories. And when I grew up, those were like the most harmless, peaceful stories there ever was. You know, like I don't get it, but this is dangerous territory, and it puts me in the mind of. Maybe you remember a movie/book called 1984. Something called.
I never read it.
There was a concept called thought crime, where you could get arrested for if they thought you were thinking something negative. I feel like this is kind of one more step in that direction.
I have heard the concept of it. Didn't that movie Minority Report, which was also a book, draw inspiration from 1984? That was the Tom Cruise one with the.
I think so.
Like the Federal Bureau of Pre-Crime or something like that.
The precogs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've never read the book. Know nothing about it. It could be completely horrible. But just because you own that book, does that make you racist? Or even biased or prejudiced? And like, that's what I understand. We're taking this cancel culture to the extreme. Like, everybody has bias. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a little bigotry in them to some extent, you know. So, even if he believed that stuff, does that make him a bad cop? Like, is he going around hurting people? Is he serving everybody equitably?
Yeah, now we're
like,
getting into
I know that sounds horrible, but like...
I mean, I know what you mean. That's like getting into the realm of, well, somebody's thinking that way, but they're not hurting anyone yet.
See?
That's where people are going to get at that is, well, not yet. Like, anytime there was like a mass shooting, like just recently, what was that, in Vegas?
I don't know where it was.
The guy that killed 8 people in that massage parlor.
Was that Vegas?
I want to say it was. Let me pull that up.
I have not been paying attention to the news once again.
So in Atlanta, there was the guy that shot up the massage parlor and where he killed 8 people. Yeah, 8 counts of murder, 4 of which were carried out at a Cherokee County massage parlor. The other shootings occurred at 2 other locations. 6 people of Asian American descent were among the dead. Officials have stressed that the investigation is ongoing and authorities have not yet made an official determination as to the motive of the attacks, including whether they were racially motivated at this time. going off the cuff with it, shooting from the hip. I honestly don't believe that it was racially motivated because the guy's already admitted several times that he was a sex addict, went to like some kind of rehab for it, and he went there and then just shot a whole bunch of people and was on record as stating, I just wanted to keep killing. Like it was some kind of release for him. And
So basically it was just messed up.
Yeah, he crazy person. Crazy person with a gun.
Yeah, I did read an article on that today. I believe it was on CNN. And I think it was the spokesperson for the FBI had said they had not yet determined a motive. So in my mind, we can speculate, but if the investigators are saying there were no motive, we can't make any assumptions about motives. Like I said, we can speculate, but we can't.
Yeah.
Can't just label him a racist.
No, I mean, that's the thing, though, that the news has come to us so fast.
So fast, and it's hyper sensationalized. No matter what
that and the fact everybody's already passing
is.
judgment before anything else, like evidence-wise, is released. Like any police shooting, it's usually weeks to months before body cam footage is provided and other footage that was provided for the scene. A lot of times, like you see where I said I've seen guys on Twitter bashing the police because there's a 30-second video of somebody getting pulled out of their car by their hair, but then you look at the body cam footage, which was actually 30 minutes. So 29 minutes and 30 seconds of footage missing, all you get is that one point of reference.
Right.
So that's right. Ooh, blue man bad. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so the shooting, I mean, everything, it's still, that's all developing. I mean, I'm sure
so was it like,
more shit will come out in the woodwork.
So I'm assuming it was that kind of establishment, if you know what I mean?
It doesn't really say. I have heard rumblings that it was kind of a happy ending establishment.
But once again, if we have no proof, we can't make any assumptions.
No, and that's the thing. I'm not going to try to jump to conclusions. I'm not. I can tell you, just like I said, when I shoot from the hip, I can tell you what I believe from what I see at the time. But for people like us, we can see that evidence and go, okay, that's what I believe happened, but that's no way set in stone. Like I'm sure that there's going to be more things that come out that can change how you feel about it.
All of that, like that whole situation puts me in another thing that I've been pondering is there are some that are calling for him to be charged with a hate crime, and that may or may not be appropriate. I don't based on the limited information we have, because we don't really know a motive, it doesn't seem to have anything to do with race.
Yeah.
Even though some people are wanting to think that now. And they may get the hate crime with, like, I think most of the victims were, if not all, were women.
Yeah.
I think that can be a thing. But
I mean, there's the thing, though. It's like, he's killed 8 people. Give him 8 charges of murder, give him the death penalty, give him life in prison. I don't care. If you want to throw the hate crime on top of it, as long as that guy's brought to justice, as long as he's locked up for the rest of his life,
or
he's put to death.
You just read my mind. Like, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, why do we even need a hate crime law to begin with? Now, before you start rushing to judgment, people, think about this. Is not all murder kind of hateful?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does it have to be based on a race or a gender or a sexual orientation? It doesn't. Like, it's all horrible. So, if we're going to be equitable and fair, all crimes of that nature should be taken serious and carry that penalty, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree with you on it because just think back to being in the military. You're still in. I'm a veteran now. Anytime one of us went down or was gone, taken out, however you want to word it, my first thought was never, oh God, what color was he? Yeah. It was never that thought.
Even if it was the crap bag that you could not stand and you could not wait till he got out of the military. If something bad were to happen to him, you'd be like, oh crap.
Yeah. What affects one affects all. Like a greater part of the body. But people don't want to see that.
What do I know?
Everybody wants to be whipped up into a frenzy and,
like I said, everybody
draw battle lines.
Everybody wants to feel important, feel smart, have a cause, blame their problems on everybody else. I think there's maybe a need for some calmness and logic today.
But like you said last week, sometimes it feels like we're at that point of no return where Everybody's so friggin' worked up that it's I don't know what it would take to calm the crazed masses down.
And that's the thing is, humans by nature don't normally react well under stress unless they've been trained to endure it, or they're just really resilient people naturally.
Yeah.
So like,
compartmentalization is key.
when you had all these things that have been happening for the last 2 years, year and a half, like, it just seems like we're in a world where like nobody is thinking logically anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just a lack in outlet. I mean, because COVID shut down
I get that.
a lot of stuff. And, a lot of people, like, I was able to go out for the first time in probably close to a year to actually go to a bar with the best man for my wedding. Met up with him, had some drinks.
Did it feel as good as a trip to Bob Evans?
It was amazing. Yeah. I mean, there was no souvenirs, but it was just being able to sit down, have like they got these giant steins of beer, and it was Mick Ultra, low carb, got to watch the calories. But it was just great being able to sit there, listen to the jukebox and BS. Like, there was so many locals that hadn't seen me forever. Like, they all saw me like, oh my God, you're still alive. Like, I felt like Norm from Cheers walking in. They're like, hey,
He made it. He survived.
he's still alive. Ain't seen you since the plague. Oh, River's back.
I mean, people just being humans.
Oh, I know. It's all walks of life. That's the one thing I love about a good bar, man. Salt of the earth. Walked in there. The clientele had completely changed. I felt like I'd been gone for 10 years. But, I mean, there's college kids and old head dudes, bikers and construction workers. There were plumbers there, electricians. Like, a lot of your blue-collar types go there. But, I mean, you got all your straight-laced. You got some stoners there. Like, it's whatever. There's boatloads of hipsters in there. And then it was like me and my buddy and his wife. I mean, it just, that part of being in a bar, like, that's the one thing I truly loved about it, was all the different types of people you got to see. And it felt good to get back out in that just for a couple hours.
And be human.
Just be a people again, not confined into the mountain of Sullivan.
So that leads me to my PSA. So on my way over here, I got stuck. There was an accident on the interstate, and you know what happens, right? Traffic normally grinds to a halt.
Yeah.
You have two lanes merging into one.
Oh, yeah. So the one everybody should merge into, they're already packing into the one that's shutting down.
Exactly.
I love that.
There is a critical protocol we have, people, that no one seems to understand, so I'm going to put it out there for the masses. This is how this works when there are two or more lanes merging. Stay calm. Move forward. Leave half a car length of space, so that way, when you get to where both lanes of traffic are meeting, it's every other car. You let one car go, you go. The car behind you lets a car go.
I'm going to add on top of that. If you're in the lane and you see everybody all of a sudden start merging into the other lane, and you can see it ahead of you,
get in the correct lane.
Just do that now. Do that now. Don't run up to the end of the line and be like, oh, I'm going to get in there. Like, at the end of the day, you're going to get maybe a car space ahead of from where you were.
I'm still going to pass you, and you're going to look like a moron.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. All it does is
I'm all about common courtesy, man, but there's sometimes a subtle satisfaction when, like, keep this formation tight, everyone. Keep it tight. We're not letting anyone through the line. Hold the line!
Just thought I'd have to throw that out there.
No, absolutely.
Every other car, people.
So here's another thing that I want to tack on to. God, all this talk's making me sweat.
Got the anger sweats.
And speaking of sweating, what a better segue than to pull the truck on over here to our weekly trip into Duke Cannon country for this week's product. You like that, right? See, that was good.
See what you did there.
This week's product, guys, is Duke Cannon Supply Company's natural charcoal deodorant, the alcohol and aluminum-free edition, known as Trench Warfare. This week I have the Freshwater and Neroli edition. I don't know what Neroli is, and I don't know what freshwater's supposed to smell like. But this takes me back to using the Old Spice, except it doesn't peel the flesh from my underarms.
Old stank stick.
So it says here, no one needs to smell how hard you work. Trench Warfare allows you to stay focused on the task at hand without worrying about how you smell. Built for 12-hour workdays, not 30-minute Instagram webinars. So I like these because it's a screw top, and then a little plastic thing there. Give that a whiff.
It is very Old Spice-ish.
That's real.
But better. Like,
yeah.
Doesn't have that fake overpowering smell,
Yeah.
I don't think.
And that's the thing. A lot of people say like the charcoal-free ones because it's a eau de parfum, as opposed to eau de toilette, where eau de toilette is I guess the French whatever thing they use for perfumes and stuff. It's a masking odor, but eau de parfum is what like absorbs the odor because it's the charcoal base that absorbs the stank. But yeah, I really enjoy using it, and in my other job, I'm sweating all day, and
I've seen it.
I sweat a lot at work, and that stuff is fantastic for all day.
You know, I don't have this particular type, but I do have one of the deodorants, and it's the same size. So one thing I do like about it is like because it's that small round, it's the old underarm a little better, I think, than the traditional size deodorant. I know that sounds just weird, but
like I feel like you were saying underarm in quotes. Like,
no, I'm just saying it has a better shape, the actual stick of deodorant, than the traditional like
the underside of your shaft.
I was just trying to be clever, man. Come on, give me a break. Here you go, sir.
Yeah, guys, as always, we will include a link in the description here below for your weekly 10% off coupon good for 10 uses at dukecannon.com. Look in the description below, and yeah. Well, it won't be in this. I'm sorry, it won't be in the description. You'll have the link to the Facey Space profile for the show in the description below. And then when you go there, you'll see the weekly code on there because reasons.
Just fits nice in the armpit.
It does. No, yeah, no. It's got it's perfect girth. Real, just like you just fist it, just grab the whole thing. That sounded wrong. All right, moving on.
Or right.
So right. To other levels of beyond crazy, or as a guy that I've listened to on the internet known as Leon Lush, he calls it brain worms. So we have all of these COVID restrictions and all of the things that it is we're supposed to be doing. Now, where we're at as a country, it's varying because every state's doing something different. Vis-a-vis Texas, no mask mandate, full send, hallelujah. Well, in most of the country, we still have the mask mandate in place, West Virginia included. Now, let's see here.
People are breaking, though.
Yeah, well, this story I got for you is out of Arkansas. There was a 4-year-old boy, autistic, flying from Arkansas. They're from Arkansas. They were on an airplane going from Dallas to Las Vegas on Spirit Airlines. All right? So what had happened was they got kicked off the flight because the boy wasn't wearing a mask. He's 4 years old, autistic. I don't believe he's high functioning, but the mask makes him kind of freak out, right? They went to his doctor, got an actual doctor's note, and they said they've flown this same airline for a while on several trips and have never had a problem with it. But apparently just on this trip, somebody gave them an issue enough to where they kicked them off the flight. And they had the doctor's note in hand, still got kicked off the flight. That's all the details I could get out of that story. So, well, there's a few more things that happened too, but just to touch base on everything so far. It sounds like somebody on the plane, like one of the employees, maybe they were newer, or they were just being a hard ass. And I mean, sometimes with these mask mandates and like these little things that are going on with these COVID regulations that people are doing, most people are, I wouldn't say lax on, they're pretty understanding of certain circumstances.
They're people about it, right?
Yeah, they're being people. There's other people that are not being people about it, that they're given a little bit of power and authority. And they will exercise that like a fucking Thanos gauntlet. Oh, you're not wearing your mask? Gone. Snapping the Thanos gauntlet.
Science denier. Burn the science denier.
So the parents got kicked off, the kid got kicked off, and apparently they had a caretaker with the child as well that they wouldn't let off.
That's kind
of weird. Yeah, I know.
Plot twist.
Yeah, plot twist. And then the dad and the mom and the son, they had to, I guess they paid an additional $1,000 out of pocket for another airline ticket to get them going, and they had no issues with that. They reached out to the airline, and the airline apologized for it and refunded like the flight that they had paid for plus the additional $1,000. Like the airline CEOs or the managers or whoever, they were very understanding, very apologetic about it.
Because they knew they were going to get sued.
But that lets you know stupidity goes at all levels. It's not just the top guys. It's not just the top where they're going, no, that's what we want them to do. Ha, 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 ha. Corporation. They actually up top they were being people about it, but some guy on the ground was being a fucking Thanos about it.
Well, that's been part of my problem with this all along, is you're not just giving the government ridiculous amounts of authority. This is all the way down the line to the local level. Like, you're giving ridiculous amounts of authority to people that never have had it before and shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what else can you say about that story other than that's just wrong?
Yeah.
No matter what you feel about coronavirus, this is
I guess
wrong.
there was a happy ending about it. The family was understanding about it. They didn't try to sue. They understood that person was trying to do their job, even though they kind of went a little bit above and beyond from what they understood from the non-issues they'd had prior. But
so it sounds like the family were just being people.
Yeah,
good people.
Yeah, and I mean the company too. I mean, outside of that,
yeah, they did do right by them.
Or for fear of lawsuit. Let's not ever count that out.
Sounds like they did right by them, though.
So far, this episode has been a lot of, we're kind of venting here, and we're talking about some of the craziness going on in this world that I just wanted to address. That it's stories that I try to look at with both eyes open, glass half full kind of mentality. But then, like these stories I've been pulling up, it's just, why? How? So I have another one for you. San Antonio, Tejas. They have a wax museum there where they have a lot of important figures and people in history. So guess who they added to the wax museum, and now they're having problems with it?
President Biden?
Close.
Obama?
No. Trump. They made a wax figurine of Trump. They put it up, and they had to make it go into hiding. So, let me begin the story. The Trump figure had been at a museum run by Ripley Entertainment for a couple years.
I just want to know if they got his skin color correct.
No, I'm looking at it, and it's, oh my God, it's horrifying. Like, the skin's one thing, but the hair is, holy shit, that's bad. I'll show it to you here in a sec. But people have been so upset after the 2020 campaign became more heated that they would go into the wax museum and punch it, scratch it, gouge the eyes out of the statue. The violence against the inanimate Trump, though, was so rampant, museum operators were forced to move it out of a lobby so they could keep eyes on it and keep the bad people away. But somehow they still got through. So they had to box it up and put it away in storage. Because I've never had anything like that. I've never hated someone so much.
And it defies all logic.
I'm so blind by my hate. I'm willing to go to somebody's personal business where their business is just to create wax figurines of historical figures. Now, some people see or hear the word historical figure and think, oh, that's a good thing. It's so historic and a positive thing. No, a historic figure is somebody that stands in history. So whether you love or hate the previous president, it was historic. Whether for some of his policies, his tax revisions, or for the amount of hate that he generated on multiple sides of multiple aisles of multiple facets and multiple people and all sorts of craziness that ensued with him. Every president, in my opinion, is historic, and every president should have that. If that museum has it, they should have every one of them.
No one probably touched Dixon there, did they?
I mean, imagine that. Okay, let's go back into this because God, this is going to be the episode that pisses some people off, I think.
We're coming full circle here.
All right.
I feel it.
So yeah, where we started, right? So I go in to the wax museum, and they got Trump, and there's a Clinton, and then there's a Biden, and there's a Bush, or whatever. What if I go up and punch the Obama one? This because I just hated him as a president. But automatically, what is assumed?
You're racist.
Yes. I'm just going to leave that right there. I mean, I really don't know what else to say to that. But if I just go orange, mad, bad, punch that, I'm like, yay!
That just shows where we've devolved as a society. That both sides, like when they get into that blind rage, like you don't even hear facts. You're mad. You're just mad at the other side. And what gets me is like, why does that even matter now? Like the opposite candidate won.
Yeah.
You should be happy.
Your side won.
I thought we were supposed to all reconcile and be one great happy America. What happened to that?
Yeah. You got me on that one because, like I said, that's
Who'da
something
thunk
I've
it?
been asking forever is I don't care who anybody really votes for. If you voted for this person, they won. Good job. Your side won. If my side won, my side won. Hey, we move on. I'm going to work tomorrow. See you later.
But this, like as you said, it's historical. It's fact. Like you can't change it whether you like him or you didn't.
Yeah.
It's important that we recognize and put in the official record that he was the president, for good or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me back to the first thing we were talking about with like books that are perceived as racist or negative or whatever. So we all know the book that Hitler wrote, right? Like Mein Kampf, his diary. Like,
I thought you said Hillary.
I might
I
have
thought you said Hillary. Oh my God.
Freudian slip there. Sorry.
Oh God.
But no, this is the point I'm trying to make.
Let the record show that neither one of us on the show are suicidal. We love our families. We love our lives. We have no thoughts of suicide. Okay,
Yeah, let's
proceed.
throw that out there. But anyway, like, does every person that owns that book racist? Well, a good majority of them might be, but like, what about like history professors that research this stuff and how something as Nazi Germany came to be?
Mhm.
Like, are they racist just because they use the book for research?
Man, talking about that now, you're familiar with the whole Gina Carano issue,
Nope.
the girl from The Mandalorian?
Nope.
So Disney fired her. She played one of the main characters in the Disney show The Mandalorian.
Which character?
She was like, I want to say she was a bounty hunter. She used to be an Imperial.
Oh, yeah.
She was in both seasons. She went to Twitter and got attacked. She got attacked.
She got attacked.
She got attacked. They did. She went to Twitter and pretty much cancel culture was coming for her because originally when the election was happening, she asked and just made a generalized statement saying, "Hey, I wish there was more transparency in elections." Didn't specify side.
Wow, that's
Just asking for transparency. She was attacked. Oh, you're a Trump supporter.
I mean, in my mind, the first thing I thought was, I don't know what party she's leaning toward. Like, it just it wants to see better elections.
So that was like strike one, and then apparently strikes 2 and 3 was she made a Holocaust reference about division, and cancel culture came after her hard, so hard that Disney folded and fired her because she made the notion, historical fact. Historically, this did happen. Prior to the Gestapo and the Nazi regime moving in on like Poland and stuff like that, they started using, what was the word, propaganda to turn the citizens against the Jewish community.
Absolutely.
To get the community, the cities, its own people, to divide them from the Jewish population, creating a divide. And what she stated was, prior to any Nazi coming in, it was their own people that had like their own citizenry turned on them prior to even the Nazis getting in there. She was talking about artificial division being created before bad people actually showed up. They were already divided. They divided themselves through propaganda. So she spoke about that artificial division that was created. Cancel culture came down on her hard. Blam, right? She gone. Pedro Pascal, the lead character that plays the Mandalorian in the show, The Mandalorian, prior to that, made references to Nazi concentration camps and the border cages where people were being kept, blaming it all on Trump.
Why do you have to ruin the Mandalorian for me like that?
I know. Well, hang on. Silver lining. So here's the thing nobody wants to really seem to admit, because now that Biden's in office, now all of a sudden it's Biden keeping the children in the cages, right?
Oh, they turn on him already?
Oh, I mean, it's just his turn, you know? So it's been that way for at least a decade. It's multiple presidents. Like it was at least through, like, I think it started with GW, and then Obama had it, and then Trump had it, and then Biden had it. They all had it. They all have, those cages are still there. I hate to break it to people. They're still there.
Yep.
It's hard to blame one person for it. Well, you put them, nope, they've been there. But allegedly, I have not been able to confirm this 100% yet. Pedro Pascal apparently took issue with her firing because he was like, why am I applauded for making
a historical reference,
a Holocaust reference, And then she does pretty much the same thing and doesn't blame anyone, just creates a generalized statement about it, utilizing a historical fact. But she's fired. She's let go. And apparently Pedro Pascal walked off set and said, I quit. If that's true.
I mean, I haven't seen any new episodes in a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, though, if that's true, I'm not going to say good for him because, I mean, hey, he was making money off that. That was his job.
That's somebody standing up for principles right there.
He stood for his principles. It's not,
right on.
It might not have been his beliefs because of how she was.
But he was standing up for her right to speak her mind.
Mm-hmm, and he was standing up.
And that's how we all should be.
To do so, yes. Like, wow.
Let people be people.
I don't know, man. I mean, it felt good to talk about a lot of this. I hate for this to be a full episode of just bitching and griping and complaining.
I mean, we can make it light. So what's going on at the border? I haven't been paying much attention to it. Is there really a crisis going on? Like, I hear some people saying that. But
yes and no. This current administration is refusing to use the word crisis, even though the press secretary did accidentally use the word crisis at one of the last press conferences.
Oh, no.
And then she backpedaled on it real quick to justify why she used that word. But from what I'm hearing is the U.S. now has kind of we've quietly told Mexico, hey, you need to stop these people before they get to us. Stop them.
I'm sure that'll work.
Yeah. There's always a crisis at the border.
Once again, that just feeds into about, like, that's where we are as a society. I know in politics you got to be careful about what you say, but we're to the point, like, if we have the speech police now, the word police, certain words are so sensitive and negative that we have to avoid them. We can't say them.
Yeah.
Even if they the most accurately descriptive word for that particular subject.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. God. I know that there's so I want to say it was a Texas farmer. There's a 3/4 mile wide gap in the fence.
Right.
That's right on his property line. So wall everywhere else except for that 3/4 mile area on his property. So he said he's funneling now. Like he said there's coyotes like just running people all through his farm at night, just at all times of the day too. He said they're overrunning him. I haven't seen any footage of it. That's what he's claiming. But I know that the Customs and Border Patrol or ICE or whatever it is, whatever agency is doing all that down there now, has called for a volunteer force to help watch the border, which they used to have that years ago. That it was almost like a volunteer mounted group, if you know what I mean.
Well, Texas, they do have their own military, sort of. Have you ever heard of the Texas Guard?
No.
It's like the National Guard, only it's strictly state controlled. Like, Texas Guard is a legit thing.
So it's not a militia, or it's state funded?
Yep.
No shit. I'm hoping it's way better than.
Look it up. I might be wrong.
I'm just hoping it's better than the Cajun Navy.
No, it's like an actual part of state government.
I just remember our conversation of the feel-good article of the Cajun Navy, and we're like, and the man is a felon for stealing all the money.
Damn it.
Like,
Let's let that simmer for a second. I feel that you have more to say.
Not really. It was long-winded and a lot all at once to where I'm like, I got next to nothing left. It was all the anger articles I had there that I just wanted to get off my chest and talk to you about.
You know, one of the concerning things about it, and I think people need to really think about this, when they go on their moral crusades against racism or whatever, fascism, whatever boogeyman they perceive they are fighting, is all this is all fine and good when it's benefiting their cause. But there was once upon a time, do you remember the McCarthy era?
I do not.
When they were hunting down so-called quote-unquote communists.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you had any kind of literature that even resembled socialism, you may be pulled in for questioning.
Mm-hmm.
So, eventually, you may be the target, people. Careful what you wish for.
Cancel culture comes for us all, and that is the one thing I'll give it. Cancel culture does not discriminate.
No. It's like this.
Look at Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York State. I think the seventh person has stepped out. Seventh woman has stepped out on him for sexual harassment. And she said, and I quote, I'm sorry, I can't quote exactly. I'm not going to quote exactly. And she said she was hugged by him and he was aroused when he did so. So I don't know if that meant like hugged her with a boner or like it was worded so weird. I was like, that has to be. How do you know that? How do you what? Like,
I don't even know what to do with that because you can't not take it seriously. Like, because we weren't there.
Promo was also the same woman during the Brett Kavanaugh trial that was like, we believe all women. We believe every single one of them. And now he's got 6 or 7 coming after him. He's like, it wasn't me. You got to believe me. It wasn't me. I'm like, whether it's true or not, Andy.
That's the perception now.
This is the monster that's been created.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking ill of the whole sexual harassment thing. Absolutely. I mean, if that's true, hell yeah. Nail him to the cross.
Yeah,
but it's if somebody just doesn't like you, that they can say anything that they want and nobody will listen to you, even if it's fact. That's scary.
That's the thing about like that particular subject. Like, you have to take every accusation serious and investigate it. And the unfortunate side of that is, if somebody gets accused, whether they're found innocent or not, they're always going to have that stigma.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a horrible thing, but it's not impossible. I mean, you just have to accept the fact. Is it not true that somebody could just make an accusation just because they didn't like somebody?
Absolutely.
And ruin their career in life?
Yep. I know a friend that happened to.
I think we all know that friend.
Yeah. I don't know.
People.
Everybody just needs to calm down.
Still love y'all, though.
Oh, yeah, we still love every single one of you. I mean, it's like family, We don't like half the shit family does, but in the end of the day, we still love them and hope the best for them and hope they're always safe and nothing ever really happens to them bad.
Even you hateful fools.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If I ever run into any of the haters on here or any of the hateful people that have anything to disagree with, that have anything to disagree with anything that we talk about on the show, and I ever run into them out on the street, I'm absolutely happy to have a conversation. And I mean a conversation. Like, we sit down and
you're not going to sit there and take abuse.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not going to sit there and just you yell at me because your feelings were hurt or you're mad. But that's your right. Absolutely, that's your right. But if you want to change somebody's mind, you're not going to do it with a hammer. All right. You catch more flies with honey with me. Yeah. If you come at me with logical thought and reasoning and compassion in your eyes and proper words coming out of your mouth instead of just expletives and "fuck you" and you're an idiot, like. If you want to have an argument, you want to have a debate, you want to have a discussion, absolutely. But let's do it like people. What's the point? And I heard this from a movie I'd seen years ago. I said, but what's the point of having a civilization if nobody's ever
nobody's ever civil?
Nobody wants to be civilized. Be a people. Be good people. Be whatever. You know what? Don't even be good people. Be the person you are. If you're an asshole, be an asshole. But just remember, other people live on this planet with you.
And your opinion is no more value than theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Would you hug them though?
I mean, if I felt I wasn't going to get punched in the face.
Just don't get aroused and you won't.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah. I'm all out of breath. I'm all out of time.
That's all I got. I'm out.
So, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Don't forget to check out all the other different ways here you can listen. Amazon, TuneIn, iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcasts, iTunes, VURBL, and we got a new one here. We are now available. You can download the This Evening Tonight app for your Alexa-enabled smart devices. That way you can say, Alexa, play This Evening Tonight. And then good old Alexa, a.k.a. the CIA dot, will tell you, hey, here's the new episode. Enjoy. Don't forget to check out the coffee. Check out the merchandising store at shop.spreadshirt.com/TET show. And don't forget to check out the Facebook page for the weekly coupon for your 10% off at dukecannon.com. But all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. And until we see you here next time on the show, peace out.
Later.